Hey guys, it's Captain Geek and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to make a poster / advertisement design, so let's get started. So I apologize in advance for my raspy voice. I've kind of had a lost voice lately, but that's not going to stop me from making this video. So anyway, let's get started here. Oops, I think I moved this. Let's put it back here. Okay, there we go. And then let's zoom out. So we're going to be, our subject is going to be this cleat right here. So the first thing we want to do is separate the cleat from the rest of the image. So we're going to use the pen tool for this. So what we need to do is go to the bottom and start at a good starting point. Like over here is actually really nice. So what we need to do is add a point here. And as you can see, that is kind of like cutting out the image with scissors, so to speak. So yeah, that is how you would go about doing it if you want to think of a creative way of using the pen tool. So the shortcut for this key is the letter P on your keyboard. I'm not sure about Mac. It should be the same though. So anyway, let's so every time you make a curve, you need to Alt and then click on it. So that removes one of the lines. So then you'll have a straight curve. But if we didn't do that, let's say we didn't cut it, it would have an automatic curve, and we couldn't change that at all. So what we need to do is go back. Control Alt Z is to undo, and then Alt click on this, and then I will be continuing with this throughout the entire process. So Alt click, and then Alt click again. Oops, Alt click here, Alt click, and then you can continue doing that throughout the whole process. This part will be skipped. Okay guys, so now I have finished the masking. So what you want to do is go to Make and click Selection, and over here you'll have the Make Selection. Make sure the feather radius is at 0, and that should be okay, and press OK. And then now it has selected everything that is over here. So what we want to do is edit. Actually, it is, I think, yeah, select inverse. So now it selected everything outside of the shoe. And then delete doesn't usually work. So what I do is I go to color and I choose a green color so I can key it out in paint.net. So I press OK, and then now there we go, we have a green background. So now let's take this image into paint.net. So what you want to do is you want to go to File, Save As, and then change this to main 1GS for green screen. And then it will be a JPEG, that's fine. Quality maximum, okay. And then that should be it. Okay guys, now I have my image. So what I'm going to do is now I'm in paint.net actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my main green screen image and bring that in. File, open. Let's also bring in some of our stock images. Let's actually bring in all of these, our particles, lights, and stuff. We will need this for later on. And then File. That was taking a while. Anyway, let's actually remove a few of these that we might not need. We're probably not going to need this one, nor this one. You might need that. This is way too small of an image. We can leave the optical flare. Particles look nice. So File, Open, and then I'm going to go back, and I have a few more I think I kept in this one. The particles and lights, let's bring all of these in. These are one of my favorite flares. This one is already keyed out. So what we want to do is we want to make a new image. So go to Image, so File, New, and if you guys are wondering why I'm using paint.net, it's just that I'm more familiar with it, and it is a free software. So if you guys don't have Photoshop, you can still make this with transparent images from the web, even though I cut out mine in Photoshop. So 1920 by 1080 should be good, and then there we go. So the first thing we want to do is Control C and put this in the front actually, and then add new layer. And this is going to be called main, and then Control V. So now we have our image. Deselect, and let's go to our magic wand tool and select all the green and delete that. Now as you can see, we have a clean transparent image right here. Pretty nice. What else can we do? So the first thing we might want to do actually is tweak our background by a bit. So let's change the color to black. There we go. And then let's make it a little gradient style. So let's do this. And the secondary color will be a darker gray. And then we can invert the colors. And then we can have it sort of like this. Let's actually go to more and select our primary. Just gonna make this a bit darker. And then we can put it in the center, so that we have a nice kind of backdrop. Actually, that might be too dark. So, undo that actually. And let's make our gradient. There we go. There we go. That looks nice. So there we go, we have this now. And if your mouse pointers look different from mine, it's because I have customized mine. So don't worry if yours looks a bit different. So let's zoom in actually. And as you can see, we have a few little green points here. So if you want to, you can just select these points and go to main. Actually zoom in, select these green points and change the tolerance level there, and then shift click. So then let's see if we zoom out and then delete. There we go. Now our image is much more cleaner and has less green in it. So now let's go back to new selected pixels. And what else can we do here? You can also change the opacity. Actually, let's add a new layer and make this a full black. So let's switch the color. And then what we can do is we can change the opacity of this to be that much. So you can still see the lights, but they are just a lot less brighter. And now what we can do is actually we can make this a bit smaller, because we're going to have extra stuff around it. And then we can tilt it to get kind of that cooler look. And let's put it right here actually. Somewhere around here. Yeah, this looks good. So let's leave that in the center. And then it's actually, we can go to effects. One second. Sorry about that. We can go to effects, align object, and align it horizontally and vertically. And press OK. Now we can deselect it, and now it is in the dead center of the image. Now the next thing we can do is go to our light and add a little light. So which one should we use? That might be a bit too extreme for this kind of thing. This light looks like it will be good, so let's change this to light 1 and then paste it onto this. As you can see right off the bat, it is really bad because first off, the background is black, so we want to change that. So what we can do is go to deselect, effect, align object, align it horizontally. Actually, yeah. So now it is completely aligned, and the align object is a plugin, but you can eyeball it as well, or you can go, if you want to be really precise about it, you can go to, I think it is adjustments, no. If you go here, you can toggle on and off the rulers, so you can have a better understanding of how all of it works. So now that we have our light, what we need to do is change the blending mode to additive. There we go. Now as you can see, it has a really bad, like, the lines. So what we can do to tweak that is go to Gaussian blur and blur until you can barely see the lines anymore. There we go. Now we can't see the lines as much. So just tweak it until you can't see them, like, at all. So this should be about nice, and then that is good. You can also turn down the opacity to turn down the intensity as well. So now we have a nice lit poster design. So the second thing we can do is we can also add these lights in if we so please. So Control C and then add new layer. Let's name this, sorry about that, let's name this lights 2 and then change it to additive. Oops, not color burn, additive. And then Control V, keep canvas size. As you can see, the good thing about this is that all the lights are actually following the image. So now it has a cool little look to it. So let's actually do this and turn down the opacity up to about 220. Works just fine. Oops, don't want to move the image at all. So if your shoe is, or any subject is not looking the way, is not pointed the way it should be, then what you can do is just rotate it and now it goes upward. Actually, I think that looks better than this. Let's see. So this is pointing kind of downward, and this is more upward. I think the downward looks a bit better. So there we go. Oops, I cropped the image to selection. That is not good. So Control Z, let's not move the pixels at all. And then let's make this image a bit bigger. And then just put it right there. There we go. That looks pretty cool. So now that we have our lights and everything, we can also add some more flares if you wanted to. I don't think I will. We might try this one. Control C and then add new layer. Flare, let's name this Flare 1 and then change the blending mode to additive and then OK and then Control V. Now we have this. We can put this here if we wanted to, or actually on the back. Doesn't really match as well. So yeah, I think we can add the flare. So let's make it a lot smaller and put it right here and rotate it like so till we get something that we like. I think this would be good right here. Then deselect. Now we have that flare. Actually, I don't think I like that much. So now what we can do is get into the real glow of the main image. So what we can do is add a new layer and change this to glows, and then get our paintbrush tool and change the hardness all the way down. And we can make the brush size about 200. It's actually a really big. So let's actually go to main and eyedrop that part right there. And actually go to the brightest parts, probably about here, which is basically just plain white. And then go here, and then you can continue doing this until you get something you like. There we go. And then I would do is I would change it to additive. I'm sorry about that if you heard that. And then change that down to about there. Or what we can do is change it to color dodge, which does nothing apparently. So yeah, what we can do is change down the opacity for this. It's kind of glowing. Now Control Z. So this is let's redo that actually. And this is without it, and this is with the glow. As you can see, it's just a bit more a brighter look to the whole thing. So we can also add some more here. And then what else can we do? We can also add the Nike emblem, so let me go get an image of that. So I have the image, so let's actually go and open it. Let's go back to this. And this is a huge image actually, so you'll see the difference when we add it. And then this will be called Adidas. It's actually Adidas. I thought it was Nike at first, but it is Adidas logo. And then it's actually named this Glows. I don't know why that got renamed. Anyway, let's paste this, keep canvas size. So as you can see, this is a huge image. So let's scale this down. And let's put it in the corner right here. And effects, what we can do is actually change the, we can invert the colors. So now it is a white image, and then scale that down as well. Oh, why are there two? Okay, so that should be good right there. Doesn't need to be really huge, just needs to show that it is by Adidas. So, yeah, that should be it. Actually, we can add some text. I like to use the font Unisans. I started using it and it is really nice looking. So, let's name this layer, what should we name it? Text. And then let's go back down to Unisans. You can use heavy or thin. I think we can use thin. Thick, I mean, sorry. So let's do this and change this to be, sorry about that. Anyway, let's change this size to 96, and then actually 48 should be good. And I wonder if you can, oops, cancel actually. I know the name of the actual thing is Messi Pipe de Bar 10. So it should be Messi Pipe de Bar 10, if I'm correct. Let me just check on that right here. Messi Pipe de Bar 10. Oops, so this is actually supposed to be spaced. There we go. And then what we can do is actually make it a bit bigger. And what we can do is actually deselect this. So let's put it about here. And then what we can do is select all of these pixels and rotate it. And then put it right here. That looks pretty nice. And then actually what we can do is change the lights to be a bit larger and more widespread. Let's actually zoom out. And let's put that right there. And as you can see, it really blends in with it, but what we can do is actually add a new layer and change this to motion blur text. And then copy these pixels and paste it here. And then effects, blurs, motion blur. And we can change the distance to be really high if we wanted to. It doesn't need to be centered at all, actually. So, actually lower it. There we go. and then change the opacity of this to be a bit lower, and that should be good to go. So oops, let's not mess with that at all. And I think that should be it. I don't really know if I like the curved text as much. Actually, what we can do is delete this and delete this. And now that we have actually made our image larger, we can also make our text larger. So change this to messy pipe d bar 10. Let's change this to 72. And then let's put it over here. So let's move this and actually put it right here. And now we can rotate this image right like so. Scale it down a bit. So let's actually put the text under the lights. 1 and lights 2. And then let's put the motion blur text right here too. So let's actually Control C again. Oops, Control Z. Control C and then Control V. Right there, nice. And then what we can do is actually select all these pixels and then go to lights 2 and select the bluest part you can see. Okay, that's good. And fill that with this. If we go back to our motion blur text, fill that color with all of these. I don't know if it's filling it or not. Zoom in. Let's deselect this. I think I did something wrong. So where is this text coming from? Not from the glows or the main. Maybe from the lights? Uh-oh, that's a problem. So let's just undo everything until we get rid of that. I think it should be gone now. So if we remove this and this, no, we still have that. So we're probably gonna have to erase this manually. Okay, I think I got it fixed, so let's actually Control C now and Control V to this. And then let's select all this and fill it with the blues. There we go, now we have it. And actually this is looking a lot nicer with the blue. So what we can do is actually change the opacity of this to be a bit lower. Maybe that'll look better. Actually, let's effects, motion blur, repeat motion blur, and then put it under this. And then change the opacity of this to be a bit lower till we've got this, and that should be good to go. Actually, let's rotate this to be a bit more intense. There we go. And then deselect. This should be good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helped you. We can add a bit more. As you can see, we've got some empty spaces here. Basically what I wanted to show you is what you can do with lighting and flare manipulation, and also some text and advertisement designs. So that is pretty much it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, a like is always appreciated, and as always,